It's a pleasure reconnecting with you. It's been a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how was it? You just returned. Tell us more about the program in the first place.
Well, I attended the China Public Diplomacy Program through the China International Press Communication Center.
Mm-hmm.
It was something basically intended for eye-opening, allowing media practitioners from around the world to have access to first-hand information as well as the, realities on the ground in China, in order to make sure that they themselves will be able to tell the right stories about China. So it was interesting, it was important, and it has been something that allowed us to be able to understand how to, be more of an in-depth, kind of people when it comes to understanding and analyzing what we read on the internet compared to what the realities are.
Mm-hmm.
So it was very great.
So how did you come to realize the actual China from what you knew prior to your visit to the mainland?
Let me be very frank that prior to my visit to China, I've had a different thought about that country because of what we've read over time on the internet. Least did I know that most of what we have read has actually been propaganda. So what I know of now is that China is a country different from what I have known before. So the first thing is that the people of China are hospitable. The people of China are compassionate people. The people of China are loving. And they have demonstrated that when we were there. They proved to us that indeed they are caring and they are people who are interested in the unification of the world, not only about their own advancement, but as well as ensuring that all others who work with them definitely will move along the same path of development, considering the technological advancement of the world today.
Mm-hmm. Now, participating in the CRPCC program exposes a lot of foreign journalists to key national events that ordinary visitors or journalists who are visiting China would not have access to. How was it like, working in China under the guidance of the China Public Diplomacy Association and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs?
In the first place, it was an opportunity that we were afforded by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs through their designed program to be a part of key national events.
Mm-hmm.
First, when we arrived, that was in the late February. In early March, we participated in the two sessions, the opening of the two sessions. You have been there, when you talk about the two sessions is when you have the joint meeting of all of the key stakeholders within the governance system. You have their parliament, which is the Great Hall of the people, where they come together from the Communist Party of China. And it was something interesting to have seen the government providing reports on the basis of the actual happenings on the ground. So that was something that we learned from, because it helped to also make us understand how China works, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why is it the economy is booming as it is booming, even though not as it used to be, but still on par and doing well? Why is it that
they've projected the last time about 5.2 billion growth post-COVID?
Yes, post-COVID, of course. Yes. What is happening is that they're still advancing.
Mm-hmm.
In as much that COVID shook the world and affected them, because there was where this whole thing started from Wuhan, you are aware, but it did not actually deter them.
Mm-hmm.
So the Chinese government was able over time to put into measures that kept the economy working, moving forward. So they, have not slowed down. They are moving, and you can, see it because it's tangible. It's very clear. So, Imagine like in one of the reports shared by the premier,
during the 2 sessions.
Yeah, during the 2 sessions.
That was in March.
Yeah, that was in March.
Okay.
The government planned like to account, to achieve certain goals in a year, and in their report, they clearly indicated that, look, I mean, we have achieved 100% of all of the plans that they have for the year. So that was remarkable because it is not something that is common everywhere. Normally, that even in advanced countries, you find out that governments will make plans, but in the end, sometimes there will come some challenges in between. And to execute, a national development plan, 100% for a year, that spoke a lot to us. And I mean, it was something that we also learned from. Yes, and the next thing also,
before you go to the next one, I think it also speaks to the great deal of patriotism and loyalty the Chinese people continue to show or demonstrate towards the government. Because if the government sets out plans, you find out that everyone, including those in the private sector, will move with it to ensure the success of that particular plan.
Francis, what I have come to know about Chinese is that they have known their history before today, and they know it well today. Mm-hmm. Marcus Garvey said that, the people without the knowledge of their history, origin, and culture is like a tree without roots. Mm-hmm. But Chinese now, they are a kind of people that clearly understand what their country is about. So they work alongside their government to make sure that plans are achieved as they are being put in place. So that's a very clear demonstration. Their patriotism is not just the use of a mere word. Oh, we are patriotic or we are nationalistic. No, you see it demonstrated in the day-to-day, lives of the people. That for every Chinese you encounter, every Chinese you have interaction with, they speak positive of their government because the government is working in accordance with the plans that affect the living conditions of all Chinese, irrespective of whatever background you come from. Mm-hmm. That's clear everywhere. Infrastructure, I mean, as we go along, maybe I will try to give some, information on some of the stuff.
What were some of the other crucial takeaways from the 2 sessions in March?
Yeah, another takeaway from the 2 sessions was that I have seen that communism, as is being defined and discussed by people who do not practice communism, is quite a different thing altogether. Mm-hmm. Because what the Chinese people or the Chinese government tries to do is to build a classless country, right? Where, I mean, there you don't have this, the tendency of going out and you see people, okay, here, the rich people are here, and you have the poor people this way, and you have, so you will see that the government is doing as much as it can, using the resources from all the domestic, activities to improve the living conditions of the people. So that's one thing I've seen there also is the unity. Unity, national unity. 56 ethnic, groups in China, but you never know. All through we've been here, all we've known over time. So when you hear Chinese, we just know Chinese.
Yeah, just one group of people.
Just one group of people. But there are 56, right? But with all that, even the Hans, they are the dominant, ethnic group. But you see that they mutually coexist. They are living a harmonious life as a people, and they are more interested in the national development, the progress of their country, compared to, individual or a certain group of people's own, personal or whatever benefits. That's not how they work. So national unity is another thing. That was another takeaway. Another thing to add to this is the issue of how China relates with the rest of the world. Pilana, we were more than 3,000 journalists there from around the world. I mean, at the two sessions in particular.
Mm.
There were journalists that came from the US, that came from Europe, in Asia and other places.
A full house.
A full house. So for every other journalist that participated or that went there to provide coverage of the two sessions had a different take on the Chinese governance system, right? Everyone, because when you speak to Chinese or you go and speak to even other nationals who live in China, they will clearly tell you that, look, the system is working and it is working in the interest of the people other than the way it's being misconstrued or perceived out there.
Mm-hmm.
How there is dictatorial, it's too controlling, no human rights, no this.
The thing is, if you have a system that works best for the people, why opt to change it? And from the look of things, the Chinese seem to be very satisfied with what the government is doing, the way things are being run, the Communist Party leadership, and everything seems to be falling in place for the right reasons in Beijing.
Well, you mentioned in Beijing, but across China.
No, if
Shanghai.
Beijing, I'm referring
Yes,
to the government.
The government, I know, yes. Yeah,
that's the seat of the government.
That's the seat of the government,
Yeah.
right? Mm-hmm. Yes. You see, I did participate in the writing series for the China Africa, Institute program.
Mm.
And one article I wrote basically was about China's rights to its own governance system.
Okay.
Right? So here's the issue. The people are not complaining. Some of us are curious, right? For the fact that we found ourselves there, we were very inquisitive. We were very concerned about many allegations we've heard over time, and we wanted to get it fast. So we moved around and tried to interact with a lot of Chinese. Even with language barrier, we use the translator, right?
Using WeChat.
Of course, WeChat and all of the other measures, that were able us to communicate.
Mm.
And we were able to talk to them. And for each that we interact with, we'll tell you that, look, we are satisfied with our system. We are satisfied with our government, right? And that's clear. That's clear because the essence of having a system is to work for and in the interest of the people. And the people are saying, look, this is our system and we want it. We love it. It is working for us.
Can this system be applicable to other countries? Take, for example, Liberia, or are there bits and pieces that we can pick up from the Chinese governance system to make ours better?
One of the components of the program is being afforded opportunity to be trained by, some trained professors from universities in China, in Beijing in particular, right? And one thing we've also always been told, okay, we are using our own system. We consider it to be a democracy bearing Chinese characteristics.
Mm.
So what they are saying is that, okay, you can borrow something from somewhere, but adapt it to your realities.
Mm.
There is nowhere a borrow system without reflecting the realities on the ground have ever worked anywhere, unless the people themselves say, okay, we have borrowed this system. For example, we say, okay, we are using democracy. The current democracy we are using here is a borrow system, right?
It's very expensive.
It's very expensive. And if you look at it, we have now worked on, improving upon it to meet and suit the realities of the day in the country. So there are many things we can learn from there. The first thing is all these the multi-party system in the country is fine, right? Pluralism is good. Yes, we say democracy is fine. But here's the issue here. It is not a matter of having 100 political parties before you know that there's freedom of expression, there's freedom of leadership, of choice and all of those things. No, that's not happening in a country anywhere. What the people try to do is to amalgamate forces to a centralized, level that will enable them make decisions for and in the interest of the country. They have democratic parties in China. This is what people don't know, right? Those democratic organizations work with the Communist Party of China to better their country. They are invited on the table to discuss with the ruling establishment.
Even grassroots organizations,
pro-democracy groups are all there, and government listens to them. They have their input in the decision making of the country, whatever, even at the grassroots level. I mean, we went to villages, we went to towns, right? You will see people have the consultation, and people are given the chance to make their views counted. So what is happening here, for example, we are using a unitary system of governance, right? And we say democracy. Today, you sit in Monrovia and make decisions for people in Grand Creek County. How do you expect the people of Grand Creek County, the people of Lofa County, the people of, I mean, whatever
where you have superintendents appointed instead of elected by the local?
No, it is not like that in China. For example, the current president, you know, he went through different ranks before ascending to the post of president. Do you know that in China, a person can become a governor for a different province other than the place he's come from originally?
Yeah.
And that was a case. That's a case, for example, in the case of Xi Jinping, the president currently. He was governor in Shanghai, right?
And also served in Zhejiang province.
In Zhejiang province. You are aware of that, right?
Yeah.
He also he served there as well. Okay? When we went to Shanxi, the same thing, you know. So this is one thing we need to understand, that look, somebody from Greco County is fair enough to become superintendent for Bong County. This is one country we are discussing.
Can we allow this?
Can we allow it in our country is the question now to answer. Can we allow it in our country? Is a question to answer. You say one country, one people, right? You pay, you know, homage and loyalty to the same symbols, yet somebody will leave from Maryland County, goes to Lofa County, and people take that person to be a stranger. That's not happening in China. So these are important elements that we could capture as a people in the country and be able to inculcate, you know, in our governance system, and see as to how we can work this thing out, right? Because one thing also, let me tell you how this helps. One thing that is very important about this is that it helps to curb corruption, to curtail. Because when people become complacent, this is my home, here I stay, and they are just there. Do they care?
Whatever happens, they are my people.
They are my people. Do they care? They don't care. But they'll be mindful if they are taken from their original place of birth to another place in their own country to serve the same country they come from. They will know that, look, they have to do something so that they can be recognized that, yes, they have done well, and can even be recommended or considered or preferred for even a higher position, or better still, in another region to serve and replicate what they have done in the other place that they've come from. This is what we can borrow from. We need to borrow something of such kind.
Okay, David, that's the governance aspect. You've mentioned you traveled across various provinces in China. Tell us about life in China. People think that, you know, in China, when you're a black man, you're walking down the street, people will stop you, police will stop you and ask you questions. You know, this kind of discrimination that we often, you know, read about and hear about on the internet.
That was one important element I was very concerned about the first day I entered China. So the first thing was at the airport. When I got there, I mean, I don't speak Chinese, and I was like concerned about even how to find my way. You know, the airport is very big. And one thing I saw and I experienced was that there were Chinese who could understand English, that were there helping us, and they took us through. Going forward, and then we moved on to Beijing itself. For all the time I have been there, from Beijing to Jiangsu to Zhejiang to Shanxi and all of the other places we traveled to, we met people who welcomed us. We were not discriminated. In fact, people were anxious receiving us. I mean, I got a dossier of pictures to show where they themselves came even running to us to take pictures with us. They welcome us in their places. I mean, there's no perfect society. You will have individuals who will choose to, you know, be deliberate about their actions. But on the generality, there's nowhere in the street, nowhere, police ever stopped us and questioned us? Nobody cared about, whether we were black or where did we come from. No.
In other words, just act in the confines of the law.
That's it. And this is one thing also I would like to say. System. The system in China works very well. Maybe
that is because the people obey.
The people obey. So no one needs to tell you. When you get in the streets of China, of Beijing or any of the cities, you will see, right? For example, the issue of sanitation. You don't go littering in the streets because there are, trash stations everywhere that by the time you have your trash in your hand, you know where to deposit it, for example. So you don't have to be told. You know exactly. By the time you get there, you are sound enough, you know how to move. You go about doing it, right? The next thing about it is that, the people-to-people relationship. We went to places, market, stores, and everywhere we went. What the people, the people are very open kind of people. When you get there, the first thing they are interested in finding a way to communicate with you. Mm-hmm. They want to know as to how they can get in touch with you. They struggle with their Chinese and try to see, if they can get in touch with you, there's a way to talk to you. And yes, they've proven that, look, they are interested in having interaction with people from across the world. And I try to ask a question. I said, but when I was in Africa, I've heard that, look, you people, we have some friends there. And I try to talk to a few of them. And they said, look, the first thing is that there has been this national awareness across the country wherein the government tried and educated the people that, look, China has come a long way. Our history defines us in a special way, very similar to Africans in the first place.
Mm.
Africa,
in fact, they consider themselves as a developing country.
A developing countries, even though, So the first thing is that they believe that, look, they were once colonized, they were ill-treated by foreigners, people from elsewhere. They were maltreated by British, by Japanese, people in Asia there. They were ill-treated by even Americans. You are aware of the history. So they are saying that we've come a long way. It is not time for us to have the same mentality that because we've come through difficult times, we should be so conservative to the point that, look, we choose not to be associative. We choose to be ourselves. China will never be the country it's supposed to be if we tie our ideologies to only our country and believe that we cannot associate with other people. So they have opened up, and tourism today over there are millions of people visiting China. Millions of people. You go in the streets of Beijing, you go to the museums. You've been there. All the places. Every day you get in the street, you see thousands of people.
And even the Chinese themselves, they are the key patrons of their domestic tourism.
That's the first thing. The population is there, the markets are there, and they are willing to support everything that is in China.
All right, that's the voice of David Major, a Liberian journalist who just returned from the People's Republic of China. We've gone halfway into our program today. This is the China Hour right here on ELBC 99.9 FM, the radio service of the Liberia Broadcasting System. My name is Francis Pellinan, your anchor on the program today. Let's bring you this development now. When we come back, we'll continue our discussion with David Major. We're going to be, you will be sharing with us more of his experiences in the People's Republic of China. But yesterday was a very important day in the relationship between the Chinese government and the government of Liberia. So we're going to be bringing you this story where the Chinese government, through the embassy near Monrovia, made a crucial intervention to the Liberia National Police, providing the institution with a well-equipped crime lab and fingerprint machines. Speaking at the commissioning ceremonies at the LNP headquarters Tuesday in Monrovia, Chinese Ambassador Yin Chen Wu expressed the hope that the crime lab be used to accelerate the rule of law component of the government's arrest agenda.
The Chinese will continue to provide technical support to ensure the normal operation of the lab. I believe that the LNP will be able to provide the Liberian people with better public security service. It will be an accelerator of advancing President Boakai's arrest agenda, of which rule of law is a vital part. In which President Boakai every success in promoting the arrest agenda. It is important to create a safe environment to practice rule of law. This lab will enable the LNP to make better analysis in the criminal investigation and give the LNP more methods to combat crime. It will be an accelerator of China-Liberia relations. According to the agreement between the government of the People's Republic of China and the government of Liberia, the Chinese government consented to undertake the project of fingerprint examination laboratory. Since President Boakai took office, China-Liberia relations have been always on the rise. This lab is the latest testament to it. I'm convinced that the friendship and the cooperation between China and Liberia will be further strengthened. China and Liberia are good friends and good partners. Under the strategic guidance of President Xi Jinping and President Joseph Numa Boakai, China-Liberia relationship is entering a new stage. China will adhere to the principles of sincerity, real results, amity, and good faith, and jointly promote friendly, practical, and willing cooperation between China and Liberia. China and Liberia will be good partners on the way to realize modernization through mutual support and alignment of the development strategy. In the Forum on China and African Cooperation FOCAC to be held in Beijing in the fall, China-Liberia relations will achieve more fruitful results, reach a higher level in the future.
Chinese ambassador to Liberia, there, Lin Chen-Wu, speaking at the LNP headquarters on yesterday. For his part, Justice Minister Councillor Oswald Tued lauded the Chinese government for its continuous support to crucial sectors of the Liberian government, describing the fingerprint equipment as a historic milestone for criminal investigation in Liberia.
We would like to express our thanks and congratulations to the Chinese government and our partner, International Development Law Organization, for what they have done for us. The digital fingerprint equipment given to us by the government of the People's Republic of China will enhance the police staff fighting ability. It will improve the police capacity in investigating crime. It will link perpetrators to the crime. Fingerprinting technology is about 99.9% accurate. At the crime scene, you pick up, once you touch the file, and the investigator go there, they can identify who touched this file. They create a database of fingerprints. Once you are coming into contact with the police, they go in that database, they can match fingerprints against your prints and establish whether you committed a crime, you're on the crime scene, or eliminate you as a suspect. There will be no guessing. So I want to thank the Chinese government for this gesture, and we hope they will not be the end. They will continue to improve our crime fighting ability by giving additional equipment that will help our officers.
Justice Minister Councillor Oswald Tued there praising the Chinese government for a crucial intervention to the Liberian National Police, a move that will aid the police capacity in criminal investigation. Meanwhile, President Joseph Numa Boakai has assured government's continuous support to the Liberian National Police, making it more professional and respected. While commending the Chinese government for the support, President Boakai also vowed to seek any available assistance to strengthen the institutional capacity of the LNP.
You cannot have a society without capable, competent, well-equipped police force. And we have come to assure the police force and the police will be capable, to be respected, and to make people know that building a police force that is capable is a society that can be trusted, a society that can be protected. And these are the processes. And many times we go through crimes that are unsolved. You don't know how to go through the process, and you are not able to capture the culprit, so people go unpunished, and people cry, and the country is not safe. All of us together have to believe in our police force, and we have to equip them. A few days ago, we received 20 vehicles for the police. That's just the beginning. This is the everything that we can assure you that this government is going to do everything, seek every support to make the police identified, dignified, that they will protect themselves, and the people of Liberia will know that they have protection in the police. Keep the relationship strong and to make sure that our police force good and our security is guaranteed. Well, thank you for the equipment, but let me say here that in all that we do, we can be being able to get training of competent people to use them so that we can assure the public that we're moving in the right direction. But I have no doubt that this time around, the police will prove capable because we will stand behind them to make sure they have the right to do.
President Joseph Euman Boakade speaking at the commissioning of a crime lab at the LNP made available by the government of the People's Republic of China, and earlier heard Justice Minister Councillor Oswald Tued and Chinese Ambassador to Liberia Yin Chen Wu. Now, we just thought to chip that one in terms of local developments surrounding the Embassy of the People's Republic of China. But we have in studio David Manager, who just returned. He's a Liberian journalist who just returned from participating in the CRPCC program. That's the China International Press and Communication Center, organized by the China Public Diplomacy Association with sponsorship from the Chinese Ministry of Foreign Affairs. I'm speaking to you because I'm an alumna of the program. So let's bring back our Mr. Major. Now, tell us about the networking opportunities, that you had working with other colleagues from different countries, Asia Pacific, Europe, South America, and all those places, including African journalists as well.
Saying goodbye to each other was difficult. It was a very difficult thing because of the bond of relationship we built over the months while we were together there. The first thing is that, we from Africa, what we tried first to do was that to, have, this means of having regional identification. Okay, those from Africa, we know we are one group from this side, but then one thing we say, okay, we know our African reality, our African realities are synonymous. So what do we do now? We can't just be all by ourselves. We have friends from Europe. We have friends who have come from the Pacific. And the next thing is we have to work together. We need to also get in touch with their realities and understand, they are journalists. They have the facts. They understand. So a lot of friends that we, interact with over there were friends, away from, Africa, so we build relationship. Right now, as I speak to you, we have a chat room that connects all of us, right? That connects all of us. So as I'm here, I can talk to somebody from Cambodia. I can talk to somebody from, Russia. I can talk to somebody from Angola. Everywhere now, that all of the friends that participated there. I think for our side, the few countries that were not there, like Togo, Guinea, but maybe the next cohort, they might also be invited. Africa was not there. All right. So the networking side of it was very interesting. Part of it was amazing. We worked together as a team. In as much as we've come from diverse backgrounds, we've come from different continents, we've come from different countries, but we lived together there in the course of the time as a family. And we shared a lot of things together, most especially information sharing, right? And we also reflected on our being there together. Many times we had a lot of engagements where we sat and reflected on our involvement with the Chinese media, for example, how they approach, their reportage, how they go about reporting, because we were at events, we were at functions where some of us went on asking some critical questions. For example, in my case, some got concerned, but you ask so many difficult questions. For example, I asked a question about how do they handle their crime issues in the country, and why is it that many negative things are not being reported in the Chinese media from what I follow over there. And I mean, a lot of different things. So we've got the answers we actually needed. Of course, some, you will not get all the answers. It will take time. But on a generality, what is clear there is that there are too many things that are happening that overshadow the negatives, because the negatives are very minor. They are, small in number, and the government has the capacity to contain them, and they are containing them on a daily basis for every time. So they say, okay, what good would they do for us to run with a news story in a newspaper because Peter Brown and John fought in the street? How does that help our country? How does that help our development? How does that help us in any way?
Is that what the Chinese want to develop?
No, they don't. They say they don't want it, right? Even like where
it boils down to what the society thinks and what the
of
society
course,
wants.
this is the issue, of education, right? And sometimes people misconstrue this issue of education about just going in the classroom to sit and learn how to read and write. No, it goes beyond that. There are many Chinese there who are not, like people who have gone to university and so forth. They are there, but they are so inclined. They understand the realities of their country, right? So, I mean, you will not find people sitting somewhere. They say, oh, there's an attire shop, and people sit and discuss things that won't benefit them. They don't have the time for that, right? So that's one thing. So people are they are concentrating on a daily basis on things that benefit them and are also continue to impact the general welfare of their country, their communities, right? So the sense of belonging, that's one aspect of it. My brother, it saddens me for people to be here praying every day how somebody should win DV to run away from this country and go somewhere else. You know why? It's because we are yet to understand national identity. We are yet to understand a sense of belonging. And the next thing about it is that the governance system, if the government works for the people, right, and you don't have few people taking too much than they deserve, a lot goes into taking care of national affairs. Who is going to be running away from here?
Improving the welfare of the people as well.
My brother, when a Chinese man leaves China, they're only going to just explore. Maybe learn new things, come and build upon it and improve upon it and make it even better. They're not going because they're seeking greener pasture. No Chinese leaves China to go anywhere to see greener pasture. You can do your research. No Chinese in current day China leaves from China to go anywhere to look for greener pasture. Right?
Okay, David, let's invite the callers now. The program 0772 876 481 0772 876 481. That's the number you can use to call us on the program, the channel, our program right here on 99.9 FM. The number to call once again is 0772 876 481. Call us and tell us, maybe you can ask questions to David in studio here about his experience in China. Some of the questions that you've always kept, you can ask him. If he had the answers, you provide them. If not, we will send your question to the Chinese embassy on the next edition of the program. We'll tend to answer them on the program here. Let's talk to this first caller. Hello.
How are you?
I'm okay. Good evening, your name. Where are you calling us from?
Good evening, sir, and a happy praise and independence celebration to you and your family. This is Milton D. Small, electoral district number 4, Crown Bassa County. Also, you can name it as Western City because it's a needed city declared by the government through our legislature.
Go ahead, bro.
Well, let me hear our brother in studio. I've long been wishing to hear him on air for a very long time. So let me say, welcome back, brother. We miss it a lot. And the only thing I have to say,
You're talking
to
about
our
Brother David Menja?
yeah.
Okay.
And so the only thing I have to say to our Liberian people who are monitoring is that everything that we have gone out to see, if we have cash, we should bring the same experience here. The reason people are crossing the Mediterranean Sea, crossing other areas, is to get good life. And so when we go and come back with cash, we have to invest it into our economy to help other people. And so let me hear him for the explanation, and I hope that other people who are monitoring will take the lead. Thank you very much.
All right, you're welcome. Keep your calls coming in on 0772 876 481 0772 876 481. That's the number to call us on the program right here on Channel Hour on ELBC 99.9 FM. Now, David, while we are with the callers, the program allowed you to come close to Chinese authorities. How was it like, getting that view that ordinary journalists visiting China wouldn't get so easily?
That was another amazing aspect of the program. Trust me, Francis, all through that being in China, I felt more of a high profile individual than
like a diplomat.
Yeah, like a diplomat, than a mere journalist, right?
Mm.
And what I did experience there is that high profile and high ranking government officials really brought themselves very close to us. And these people are humble. Let me be very clear with you.
Mm.
We've had the opportunity to be in the presence of millionaires, who, when they tell you that this person is this person, you won't even believe it because their life is simple. So they most especially the government officials, like those from the foreign ministry, those parliamentarians, guys from the Great Hall, Great War of the People. For every time they came around, they opened up in sharing with us the good story of China. They made us understand that, look, this is China. And we welcome you to China so you can understand where we are. Right? And the next thing is they will always tell you that, look, we are one family. That's how they take us. Right?
Mm-hmm.
That we are one family. We should, most especially those of us from Africa, they are saying that Africa's potential is huge and should not in any way be underestimated. So they took us as one people and they always, work with us.
Okay, all right, the caller is off the line. Okay, let's take this caller. Hello?
Hello, how you doing?
I'm okay. Your name and where you calling us from?
I'm okay for a call from Banga.
Go ahead.
Central Liberia.
Go ahead, Mo.
Yeah, let me first of all appreciate you highly for coming back with those kind of idea. Yeah, you see, there are others who just go there just to eat and drink and come back with other things to share with us.
Amen. Amen. Don't say that.
That's true. Yeah, it's happening. And one good thing you said is that the Chinese really defend themselves basically through all the times. And they care for their country. But sometimes for us, when we talk about journalism, it is about going around, you see two people fighting over there, you go, and is that a story to write? No, that's not a story to write. Write encouraging stories that you know that can help us. Then to say, oh, you just go and write other things. You see how the Facebook is looking like now? Because Facebook does not refuse any other thing. Anything you talk there, it goes there. And it lives after you. That's what people don't know. But let me first of all appreciate you. The share cost, that is how you put interact with people. And some of us don't like that. It's very good. It's very important If you go somewhere, live the way the people want you to live. Then to get yourself mixed up with other things.
Okay.
That's a good thing that I know.
All right. Thanks for
Most
your
of us
contribution.
are like that. Thank you, God.
Thanks for your contribution. Keep your calls coming in on 0772 876 481. 0772 876 481. We can take one more last caller. Then we conclude our discussion here with our guest in studio, Mr. David Menja, a Liberian journalist. Let's take this caller. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, you are live on Channel Hour.
Yeah, thank you. This is Ibrahim. I'm calling from Ghana.
Okay, go ahead.
I want to congratulate the brother in studio there who just returned from China. I want to ask you one question. And this question has to do with we Liberians or Africa as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
How many tribes did he know about from China or in China when he went there?
I think you talked about it earlier, but maybe you just joining. So you try to answer your question, yeah?
Yes, the reason why I ask him because this is the problem with guys in Africa. This tribe, that tribe. But you go, I don't believe that he went to China and saw 22 tribes as much as they have almost more than half of the population of the world. But every time in Africa, Liberia, got 16 tribes, everybody want to get out to their tribe.
Okay. All right. Thanks ever so much. Let's come back to David. Before your concluding statement, let's try to get from you, what do you make of the Chinese embassy, for this kind of opportunity that they continue to provide to Liberian journalists?
The opportunity is something that, for me, I see as a very, important kind of thing that the embassy has thought to open up to us,
Mm-hmm.
And wish and pray that more journalists will have the opportunity to be a part of the program. They have done. Let me tell you, even while I was there, one thing that I must give a very serious and important consideration to is giving credit to the embassy here.
Mm-hmm.
While I was there, all through the time I was in communication with them. For every minute you reach out to them, they are always available to speak to you, to answer you, to address your concerns. So it's very important, and this shows how diplomacy, works. Diplomatic missions, making sure that, look, where you serve the people there, you bring them closer to you and afford them the opportunities to be able to learn and understand some things so that they themselves will be able to have, a kind of mind change that will, lead them to something better for their own well-being as well as the well-being of the country. So I think that's a very, commendable thing that we should all appreciate.
All right, David Menja, I will take that as your parting comment right here on the Channel Hour program. Another brand new edition of the program comes on your radio on next Wednesday at 6 p.m. Until that time, my name is Francis Pellin. I'm saying thanks for being there, and thanks to my producer, in fact, my two producers, Peterborough Wallace and Damawa Fofana for the Facebook live stream. Do have a pleasant evening from Painesville.